Kiara canceled.
The time the WWE killed a baby for views.
Yep.
What the fuck?
Yep.
What the fuck?
Yep. The time the WWE killed a baby for views. Is that not self-explanatory, my guy?
Well, yeah, I guess so, but I'm a bit confused. I don't know what to expect, to be honest with you.
Okay. So what we're about to watch is this man made a 30-minute documentary style like lore video of sorts.
Okay.
Right? And I believe that he did. I think he did what do you British people call a cracking good job or whatever. Is that what you British people call it?
Yeah, sure. I guess. I mean, a cracking good job. You should go for it. What's the link? Or are you going to do a multi-view thing?
We can do a multi-view thing, or you can just watch my stream as we go through it. Either way is good for you.
I'll just drop me a multi-view thing, a link to the thing, and we'll just 1, 2, 3 it.
Okay, 1 second. Oh, so you just 1, 2, 3 it?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Okay. Multi-view. So we could do watch together.
Okay, yeah, watch together. Just
That's
do
easy.
that. Send me the link to that.
No problem. Is this how you expected you were spending your day?
No, I wasn't, to be honest with you. I've got some topics to cover, but of course I'll always make time for you. You know.
Always make time for the WWE killing off babies.
Yeah, exactly. Why not?
Yeah. Why not? Exactly. Why not?
Thought we were gonna watch Snakes. Yeah, I thought we were gonna watch Snakes as well. Sorry about that, everyone. Maybe I can do a dual thing.
Snakes.
Yeah, basically, I'm trying to, because obviously, like, I'm trying to find like stuff that people can watch and enjoy. You know what I mean?
Okay. So not Dylan Burns TV content.
No. I just mean I didn't know what kind of conversation we're going to be having, but now I know what the situation is.
And are you excited? Are you excited for this content?
I can't tell you how excited I am. It's just out of control, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? When the WWE kills a baby, you sit in that seat and you watch. And then does a 3 to 5 to 6 month arc of baby killing. You know, it's quite a thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I'll let you be in control anyway, okay?
And you want to know what? Do you want to know the worst part?
What's that?
It's even worse than just regular baby killing.
Right, okay.
Okay, is it playing for you?
Yeah.
Okay, 1 second. Let me just make sure it's working well on my stream.
Does it sound?
Yeah, I'm just gonna get windowed view and such. Yeah, and loving memory. What a tragedy. Okay, let's play it.
First impressions are important, especially so in wrestling. Let's take a look at AJ Styles' debut at the 2016 Royal Rumble. Here, he's making his first appearance with the company as the number 3 entrant in one of the biggest matches of the year. The crowd is going ballistic, the commentators are losing their minds, and there's only one other person in the ring, the world champion. And all his attention is focused on AJ. Whether you'd heard of AJ Styles before this match or not was irrelevant. Just watching him walk down to the ring, you could tell this guy was a star and someone who deserved your attention. Now let's compare that to Lord Tenside's debut in 2012. The Raw after WrestleMania is one of the most talked about.
Okay, so that guy got you a reaction. So if that got you a reaction, then this whole video, you're gonna die. You're going to die in your seat. That was nothing, and for WWE people, that's nothing. You've obviously never heard of Kamala or the Iron Sheik, which was literally I am an Iranian, I hate America guy. Or after did you know this is a good one? After we invaded Iraq, France wasn't very cool with it. So what the WWE did was they made an American general character turn into betrayed America and then was loyal to Saddam Hussein. I think that was actually during Kuwait. And the second one was after the Iraq invasion, they had a team called La Resistance, which was just French people who hated America because that was a thing back then.
Okay, cool.
So the WWE has never been scared of going into politics.
Yeah, it seems like it. I thought they just pretended to beat each other up.
No, they want to get as offensive as possible sometimes just to get eyes on them. Like when they had a guy called Kamala who was literally just a overweight black person with face paint, who had a white man guiding him around like he was a safari like adventurer. You know, just normal family friendly content.
Yeah, sure. Jesus Christ.
Oh, or the time they had a disabled wrestler who was just like, "Hi, I have Down syndrome. That's my stick." Anyway, let's watch this. This is a great arc.
And highly rated shows of the year. And on paper, that would seem like a really great time for a wrestler to debut. But sending out A-Train in a Japanese mask to take on Alex Riley in front of the smarkiest and most vocal crowd of the year spelled certain doom for this character. And what was supposed to be his shining moment, the crowd ignored the match completely and amused itself by chanting Albert and cheering for Daniel Bryan, who wasn't even involved. 2 months later, and Tensei wasn't even a lord anymore. By the end of the year, he was jobbing clean to Santino Marella on SmackDown. Okay, sure, this is probably the only contest on which someone would compare AJ Styles and Prince Albert. But my point is, a strong debut allows a wrestler to hit the ground.
Sorry, I'm just getting asked in my chat. Isn't there a little person fighter named Hornswoggle or something like that?
The mighty Hornswoggle? Hell yeah. The rightful heavyweight champion? Yes, the people's champ, Hornswoggle. He represents my community, okay? Yes, Hornswoggle was the one, and then they had got another little person and had them have a little person wrestling match, and then they would get little people to dress up as other wrestlers, and then they had a little person Royal Rumble. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, this show does not care. Or that time they assaulted people in wheelchairs, or when somebody was being taken away on a stretcher, and they body slammed them, or they put a guy in a casket and turned it on fire. And yeah, the WWE is something else.
They're not very politically correct. Let's put it that way.
No. Whether it's gay jokes, just straight bigotry, they've got a lot of it.
Okay.
Running, while a weak one can make getting over an uphill battle, or even kill off a character completely. WWE's history includes countless unforgettable first appearances, both good and bad, and for all different reasons. But none are quite so strange as Gene Snitsky's debut on the Raw roster in September of 2004. What was intended to be a one-shot appearance and an angle already in progress ended up becoming a career-defining moment for Snitsky. It spawned what is arguably the worst wrestling catchphrase ever. This is part 2 of a 3-part series about the Matt Hardy, Edge, and Lita love triangle that shocked the wrestling world back in 2005. If you haven't already, I highly recommend watching the first video in this series, Knocked Up. See everything that happened.
So, yeah, the WWE has so many crazy arcs that I'm still discovering them. It's actually insane how many the amount of story development that is actually in this series is incredible. And the amount of actual insane shit in it is next level tier, which makes it more, honestly, I feel like this is how it stays relevant. Because why would you watch wrestling when you can watch real fighting, right?
Yeah, sure.
What they did is they made sure the characters were interesting, the storylines were good, and they did crazy shit you'd never see in a UFC ring. You're not going to see someone light someone else on fire in a UFC ring. You're not going to see that. You're not going to see somebody be thrown off of a 20-foot top steel cage, or be tangled up in barbed wire, or any of this, or have their neck snapped by a chair. You're not going to see that. But in here, or killing a baby. But in here, you'll see that.
Up to this point, keep a lookout for part 3 coming soon. When we last spoke, Kane had defeated Matt Hardy in a till death do us part match at SummerSlam 2004, earning the right to take Lita as his not so happily wedded wife. In the months prior, Kane had relentlessly stalked and eventually impregnated Lita after forcing her to have sex with him in order to temporarily guarantee Matt Hardy's safety. With a baby on the way, and stuck in a marriage to a man who considered her his property.
So you're freaking out a little bit.
Yeah, this is some fucking... That's fucking rape.
Yeah, it was. They had a main character, who is now a mayor of a city in Kansas, by the way, rape someone. And then later, you were supposed to root for the guy.
That's absolutely wild. Jesus Christ.
Oh, and he's a legend in the sport, too, Kane. He's literally the Undertaker's brother, which I'm sure you know about the Undertaker.
Okay. I know about the Undertaker, yeah. What's wild to me is, if there's a rape storyline, a soap opera, normally it's, handled fairly sensitively.
The worst part is the rape is the least fucked up part of the story.
Oh my god, Okay, let's go.
Lita suffered further indignity by being forced to serve as Kane's valet. Her interference at Unforgiven 2004 resulted in Kane losing to Shawn Michaels, and this understandably caused problems at home for the young couple, as Kane elegantly confided to general manager Eric Bischoff on the September 13, 2004 episode of Raw.
You see, I didn't sleep at all last night. Because my bitch wife cost me my match with Shawn Michaels at Unforgiven.
He demanded a rematch against Michaels, which Bischoff claimed he was unable to grant. However, he promised to find a victim for Kane to brutalize in a no DQ match later in the show. Kane's opponent for the night was given no entrance and little introduction. On commentary, Jerry Lawler referred to him as simply someone Kane could destroy. Eugene Allen Snitsky played college football for the University of Missouri and was actually signed by the San Diego Chargers. However, shoulder surgery put him on the sidelines for almost 2 years. He attempted a comeback with the Birmingham Barracudas of the Canadian Football League, but re-injured his shoulder, permanently ending his football career. A big guy with a loud personality, Snitsky had always contemplated professional wrestling as a fallback, and he began training at the Dory Funkin' Dojo in the late 90s. Snitsky spent his early days in the Northeastern independent scene, working as one half of the tag team the Twin Tackles, alongside close friend Rob Harper. The team later joined manager AJ Petrucci to become the Dark Side Demons. But after meeting Samu on an overseas tour, Snitsky began working for World Extreme Wrestling and training under owner Afa, formerly of the Wild Samoans. He signed with the WWE in April of 2004 and reported to their developmental territory, Ohio Valley Wrestling. On this night, after less than 6 months in developmental and at the age of 34 years old, Snitsky made his main roster debut as Kane's sacrificial lamb. The match began with a kick to the gut, and Kane immediately laid Snitsky out with a clothesline. Into the corner for another clothesline, and Snitsky dropped to the mat, virtually defenseless. On commentary, JR and the King ceased calling the action entirely, referring to discuss at great length how neither of them had ever heard of this new competitor.
And this is who? Gene Snitsky? I don't know Gene Snitsky, but in any event, it's who it is, yes.
An Irish whip was followed by another kick to the gut, then a headshot, and a pretty high-impact leg drop. Back in the corner, Snitsky attempted to come back with some big right hands, but an uppercut from Kane sent him back to the ground. Finally remembering that this was supposed to be a no DQ match, Snitsky hit a low blow, which Kane sold for about 2 seconds before taking back control with a big boot. Enraged, Kane grabbed a chair at ringside and wrapped it around Snitsky's neck, preparing to crush his throat. This attack had previously been used to write Shawn Michaels off television for months. Alita had actually slept with Kane in order to spare Matt Hardy the same fate. Kane climbed to the top rope to finish the job, but Lita rushed the ring, attempting to save poor Gene Snitsky from this gruesome attack. An argument broke out, with Lita begging her irate husband to show mercy. Suddenly, from off-screen, Snitsky struck Kane's back with the chair, sending his massive 300-pound frame crashing down upon his pregnant wife. She immediately grabbed her stomach in agony.
I know what's happening.
As Kane flipped out, uncharacteristically showing great concern for her well-being. He'd repeatedly screamed for someone to get a doctor. Dean Malenko and medical personnel arrived to assess the situation. As Kane succumbed to sheer panic, she'd be removed from the ring on a stretcher, wearing an oxygen mask. In appreciation of this somber and tragic moment, the crowd began to loudly chant "Baby Killer." But Snitsky escaped backstage mostly off-screen, having become the first wrestler in history to critically injure a fetus during their debut match.
What?
Okay, so do you have any thoughts?
Fucking God, this is fucking wild. I had no idea any of this shit existed.
No, just no clue whatsoever?
No, like, I knew there were, like, wacky storylines, but I thought it was just, like, dudes posturing about, you know, having a bigger dick or whatever. But this is, like, another level.
No, yeah, and you want to know what? It just gets worse and worse as time goes on in the storyline. And, yeah, so basically, this storyline, the weird thing about this is that while this was a pretty, like, what-the-hell moment, it didn't, like get many views. Like, actually, the other fights on the cards actually got a lot more views at the end of the day, which is really strange when you think about it, because, like, you know, controversy, all that. But I guess, like, it was, the WWE had been so wild for so long that this to a lot of people was just like, eh. Oh, the way that's not an abortion, by the way. That would be a miscarriage. So you might want to correct that a little bit.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's not. Yeah, it's not an abortion. It's what is it? It's kind of like I don't know.
But like the balls on any company really to take this story arc, like 20% of pregnancies end in miscarriage.
Yeah.
And they're just like, fuck it. Let's see if that can get some views. Let's see if we can get a few people watching Miscarriage live on TV. Let's see if will that get some people to watch.
So do you think this was just like a ratings thing then?
Oh, well, fucking course it was like a ratings thing. They just wanted to add more drama to the already drama-filled story between Kane basically raping this woman, and then then they kill the baby, right? And then it's like, hey, now you sympathize with Kane because he just lost his kid that he raped for.
Oh my god. So wait. So this baby was as a result of him raping her.
I don't remember if it was like this is the baby who was what's the word? Created out of the rape, but it was out of a relationship that she definitely does not want to be in. Right?
Yeah, sure. So if it's like a forced marriage,
then it would be marital rape. I mean, like this is so like awkward to talk about, right? And it's awkward for us to talk about it, but they did it. And they did it in the most loud and bodacious way possible. And the thing is, after they did it, they basically bragged about it.
Jesus Christ.
And they'll show you, like, later in the thing, like, this becomes his shtick. I'm not kidding. And to this day, it's his shtick.
Jesus
Like,
Christ.
I can tell you, like, there's merch created out of this.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I'm not kidding.
Let's keep going.
Let's keep going. Now, 1 second. Where was I? Which tab was it? Yeah, here it is.
According to Snitsky, this was intended to be a one-off appearance, and he wasn't even told what was going to happen until shortly before the show. After waiting around for hours, Dean Malenko asked him to go to the ring, where he, Vince, Kane, and Lita went over the segment in detail. You have to wonder, what was the original plan here? Couples therapy? Grief counseling vignettes? Without some sort of feud, it's hard to imagine the storyline could have continued. In the next week's issue of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer noted that the angle was originally booked to last the full 9 months of the pregnancy. It speculated that the WWE must have just given up on it. But what's even more baffling is that it did continue. What about this segment did Vince McMahon love so much that he decided to keep this angle going? This was actually the second miscarriage storyline in just 5 years. In 1999, Terry Runnels claimed to be pregnant with Val Venus' child. She suffered a supposed miscarriage at the hands of D'Lo Brown, but was later discovered to have faked the pregnancy entirely. For years, the WWE has claimed that it's only interested in generating a reaction. Whether that reaction is positive or negative is irrelevant. But given the seriousness in which this played out, I can't imagine that a baby killer chant is what they were going for. The Observer reported that this segment actually lost 361,000 viewers, making it the lowest rated of the night by a wide margin. In the early 2000s, prior to the
It gets me so much about this, right? Is that, could you imagine, like, you like, hey, Billy, do you want a pretzel? Sure, Dad. And he go and you get his dad a pretzel, and he's like, oh, there's some, this Gene Snitsky guy is going to wrestle. And you come back to your son chanting baby killer. Like, what would you, like, what would come of that? Like, how the fuck do you approach that situation?
Jesus Christ, yeah, like you said earlier, it's so uncomfortable to even think and talk about, but they just made it like, you know, a storyline like for viewership and almost like for fun. Right?
Well, I mean, it's to make money. I mean, that's what wrestling's about. I mean, that's why they did La Resistance. That's why they did the Iron Sheik. That's why they did Kamala. That's why they did made it so Sergeant Slaughter, American Patriot, became Saddam Hussein's henchman, who has shipped boots from Saddam Hussein to use in the ring, and turned heel after he invaded Kuwait. This is why they do a lot of, like, anytime, so, like, a lot of times they'll use like politics or controversy in the real world to just keep pushing the narrative, keep pushing it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's
Let's continue.
Yeah, let's continue this dumpster fire.
Existence of NXT, Kentucky-based Ohio Valley Wrestling served as part of the WWE's developmental system. Along with Danny Davis, Lance Storm, and others, co-owner and head booker Jim Cornette oversaw the training of some of the greatest stars in WWE history. Yet according to Cornette, in his 7 years in that role, Vince McMahon called to thank him exactly once, and that phone call was about Gene Snitsky. Following the show, Snitsky returned to OVW to resume his training, but a last-minute change saw him booked on the next week's Raw with almost no notice. After he missed his connecting flight in Dallas, the company actually sent the corporate jet to fly him the rest of the way. JR and the King conducted a rather bizarre interview with Snitsky that night, where he claimed he was speaking to clear his name. Of
Such an asset, they sent the private
Only a few
jet.
Seconds into this interview, Snitsky uttered the 4 mundane and ordinary words that would become his rallying cry of the next few months. These words would ultimately follow Snitsky the rest of his career.
People have been blaming me all week for what happened with Kane and Lita. It wasn't my fault.
Of course, Snitsky denied all responsibility for the accident, claiming that he was there to do a job, and he did it. Broadcasting on location, Todd Grisham explained that Kane and Lita had remained at a hospital the entire week, and that the baby was somewhat conveniently still clinging to life. He conducted an interview with business casual Kane, who on the verge of tears revealed that he'd been told the baby had a 50-50 chance of survival. Kane called what happened in the ring no accident and swore his revenge.
Snitsky is a dead man.
Later in the show, Grisham reported that an emergency had developed, and the frantic medical staff asked him to leave. But a doctor provided an update at the end of the night, somewhat unethically announcing on national television that the baby had died. Kane would become overcome with despair, streaming at his wife's bedside as she lay paralyzed with grief. During a sit-down interview with Grisham the next
By the way, the main viewing audience of professional wrestling, I still believe, is children, right? Or at least it's children and like adult men. I believe are the two main audiences.
Yeah. Like, there's obviously some dudes that.
Oh yeah, like if you look at like tournaments, like it's full with like adult men, but like children are like huge into this, right? Imagine having to have this conversation with your kid. Like he comes like, "Hey, so do you enjoy wrestling?" Yeah. So the Kane's baby died in belly, and then they became baby killer. What's that?
I mean, and Alka Boy's saying this is what the profit motive makes people do, and I wonder, like, if it was a situation where they got to the end of like, how much more ridiculous can we make it? Do you know what I mean?
It gets so much worse.
How can it get worse than
It can get pretty worse, my guy.
Oh my god.
This week, Kane revealed that Lita had barely spoken or eaten since the loss, and regardless of her feelings towards him, she truly loved their unborn son. They learned it was a boy shortly before the end. He threatened Gene Snitsky's life and promised that his son wouldn't die alone. Lita nearly broke down during her interview with Grisham on the October 20th, 2004 episode of Raw, lamenting that Gene Snitsky had taken away her baby boy, who she never even got to hold. Despite the months of ridiculousness leading up to this angle, these segments were legitimately sad and kind of moving. However, Snitsky's interview with Jim Ross later in the night was considerably less so. Snitsky came to the ring pushing a stroller, which he claimed contained a sleeping baby, and as not to disturb the child, he said nothing aside from what was quickly becoming his catchphrase.
It wasn't my fault.
Kane made his way down the entrance ramp, prompting Snitsky to toss the baby carriage, which was revealed to have concealed a metal pipe, as Snitsky attacked Kane with the weapon.
So imagine, right? So this guy, at least in the head of Kane, right? Even though, like, to say he killed the baby is a little unfair considering the circumstances, right?
Yeah, sure.
In the head of Kane, he killed the baby, and then you come back and he has a stroller and throws it at you. Like, he's literally like he's parading the death of the baby around.
Yeah. I mean, it's like it just goes from distasteful to like distasteful again and again. You know, it just goes down like a slope of.
Oh, are you saying this isn't a prim and proper wrestling story you expected?
Well, I mean, I guess I just expected it to be a bit more
Funny and childish.
yeah. Like, you know, I thought it was just beefy guys.
Well, it is beefy guys, but beefy
Yeah,
guys
but
killing
beefy-
babies.
Yeah, but like beefy guys just like memeing and posturing and being like, yeah, you're fucking trash and all this shit. I didn't really.
He's like, Kane's like, you're fucking trash, Snitsky. Well, I killed your baby.
Yeah,
Just like,
exactly.
oh, jeez.
The stroller thing is so fucked.
Oh,
like-
dude, it gets worse.
Oh my god. Okay, let's go.
Weapon, leaving him a bloody mess. On the October 11th episode of Raw, JR interviewed Snitsky via satellite from the WWE studios in Connecticut. Snitsky once again denied responsibility for the child's death and claimed that he had no choice but to bait and preemptively attack Kane, as his life had been threatened. To be honest, Snitsky made some valid points. He hadn't asked for the match on Raw. He wasn't even on the roster. Eric Bischoff booked this match on short notice to save his own skin and demonstrated a complete lack of ordinary care by granting Kane free reign to assault a member of the enhancement talent roster with total impunity. Snitsky came within seconds of sustaining a life-changing injury. You can hardly blame him for attacking Kane with a chair when he had the chance. This was a fight for survival, and after taking multiple blows to the head, which left him dazed and disoriented, it's no wonder that he didn't notice Lita had entered the ring, knowingly disregarding the safety of her unborn child, after she'd been specifically warned against doing so in the past.
Man, I was just out there trying to help you.
Trying to help me? Lita, you are pregnant. So look, I just need you to stay away from the ring.
As Snitsky didn't continue to attack Kane after the incident, he immediately left the ring, causing this no disqualification match to end in a no contest, otherwise known as the Nitro Special. But here he was a few weeks later, the recipient of multiple credible death threats. What was he supposed to do?
Jesus.
A Weapon of Choice match was announced for the 2004 edition of Taboo Tuesday. Taboo Tuesday was a second attempt by the WWE to establish Tuesdays as an alternative pay-per-view night, the previous being this Tuesday in Texas 13 years earlier. The event had a pretty unique concept for the time, as each match featured a stipulation that was voted on by the fans online and through text messages. According to reports, the voting was actually legit, and even the wrestlers themselves weren't informed of the results beforehand. At Taboo Tuesday 2004, Chris Jericho's opponent for the Intercontinental Championship was determined by fans from a field of 15 possible contenders. In his book, The Best in the World, at What, I Have No Idea, Chris Jericho claims that he learned who he'd wrestle that night while standing in the ring. Here you can see the ref telling him the finish. Shelton Benjamin went on to win the title, and the match was called on the fly. The event was rechristened Cyber Sunday in 2006, and discontinued completely after the 2008 event, probably due to the difficulty of promoting a pay-per-view when the matches aren't determined until the day of the show. WCW had faced similar challenges, but in that case it was due to sheer ineptness. Taboo Tuesday 2004 originated from Milwaukee, Wisconsin in front of a crowd of 3,500. In a surprise upset, fans chose the chain over the steel chair of the lead pipe in the Kane vs. Snitsky Weapon of Choice match. Lita actually followed Kane to the ring, in the first sign of a growing unity between the couple, a result of their shared tragedy. The match began with the two fighting for control of the chain, but Kane quickly took the upper hand.
Remember, a woman who was raped by this man is now feeling unity with him because of her baby being killed in a miscarriage because a man was forced to fight a monster, basically, in the ring.
Yeah, the fact this is going into this territory now, it's really fucked up because it.
Oh, is it? I didn't notice.
But like at this point, it's kind of downplaying the idea of like marital rape. Do you know what I mean?
I feel like anytime it like presents it in this fashion, it's the WWE has never been very polite and careful with issues. I would say like another example would be the character of Eugene. Which is kind of like a weird thing for me because I hear of a lot of people with I've actually heard of people with mental disabilities saying Eugene was actually kind of an inspiration. But then like other people like look at it as like, no, this is a joke. This is making fun of disabled people, or this person isn't this or that and can't play. It's like controversial. That's another thing. I might make this like a weekly thing where we just go through fucking crazy ass wrestling shit because this is kind of like midway. This isn't even the worst that WWE gets. It gets like a lot worse.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually finding it really interesting to find out about it, and to be honest, it's one of those things that I'd end up just watching myself. So yeah, I'd be down with that. We should do that.
Yeah, you know what? We've been looking for something we could do together.
Yeah, definitely.
This would be This is not a bad idea.
Yes, okay. Let's do it.
And
Let's
punishing Snitsky
continue.
in the corner. Irish whip into the ropes, and Snitsky escaped to the outside. However, Kane was close behind, steel chain in hand. A missed blow with the chain, and Snitsky fired back with a kick to the gut and some punches. Back in the ring, Kane regained the offense using an uppercut and a chain-assisted clothesline.
Oh, I just realized. So the guy who in the storyline raped his wife, Miscarriage, all that, he's now the mayor of a town in Kansas. So now me thinking about all these like lines I'm gonna say during like Civ 6 tournaments or whatever, about like eliminating, burning down in your villages, like mean nothing to me now that I think about it. If he can go through this storyline on national television, I'm sure my tiny podcast will be fine.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure they're not going to be going for your Twitch streams and clip chimping you, right?
Yeah. Oh God.
He followed it up with a big right hook that was sending Snitsky through the ropes. Back outside, Snitsky used the chain to ram Kane into the post, then went to work with some forearms and kicks. They returned to the ring, where Kane ate a chain-wrapped Polish hammer. In full control of the match, Snitsky whipped Kane like a dog before locking in a choke with the chain. Kane attempted to fire back by breaking the choke and delivering some strong right hands, but a knee to the stomach shut him down immediately, as Snitsky continued to dominate. Kane caught Snitsky with a clothesline in the corner, but a second attempt resulted in a boot to the face. Then a body slam, which was closely followed by 2 elbow drops and the first pin attempt of this match. The two rose to their feet for some brawling, and Snitsky reversed an Irish whip for a clothesline. Another pin attempt followed, earning just a 2 count. More whipping and choking, and Kane managed to come back with some right hands, before walking directly into a sidewalk slam for another 2 count. But a zombie sit-up signified a second win for Kane, and he came back strong, winning the slugfest. However, both men connected with big boots, leading to a double KO spot. Snitsky slowly rose to his feet, while Kane was rejuvenated with a second zombie sit-up. At this point, Lita became involved, stealing the chain away from an angry Snitsky. Kane attempted to capitalize on this distraction with a choke slam, but Snitsky powered out with some right hands, leading Kane to dump him over the ropes instead. Back outside, Snitsky nailed Kane with the ring steps, then another shot with a steel chair. On commentary,
ft.ChudLogic
JR
versus
strongly
Bootlicker
condemned
cage
this
match.
attack,
Hell
noting
yeah.
that the steel chair did not win the fan vote. Into the ring.
Can you imagine being a commentator and that's what you're outraged by like this whole arc, and you're thinking like, man, you know, in this match over a baby being killed in a wrestling ring after the marital rape and everything else, I'm really upset that they are not respecting the integrity of the voting process in the world wrestling entertainment industry. I can't believe this. This is a real outrage.
Right. Exactly. It's just I just can't. I'm just in absolute awe that this is an actual thing that they thought was.
This is This is what American wrestling is. It's just like they have to keep hyping it up to keep people's eyes on it, and they're getting pretty fucking good at it.
Yeah. Jesus.
Ring for some more chair shots, and Snitsky beat Kane into the ground before applying yet another choke. With Kane totally defenseless, Snitsky callously wrapped the chair around his neck in a reversal of fate from their last match. But this time, Lita chose not to intervene, and Snitsky jumped to the chair from the middle rope, crushing Kane's trachea. Confused, Snitsky then left the ring, apparently forgetting that he hadn't actually pinned Kane or won the match yet. He remembered about 20 seconds later and rolled back in to easily secure the victory. Medical personnel immediately rushed the ring.
Forgot about this. This is great. This is great.
And loading him onto a stretcher. Lita remained by his side through the entire ordeal. They made it as far as the entrance ramp before Snitsky returned, throwing Kane off the stretcher and stomping his lifeless body.
That's got to be against the rules.
Yeah, you think? Maybe. It might be. I might have to check with the commissioner on that one. Ugh. Ooh.
Oh my god, this is wild.
Yeah, rules? Exactly. Yeah. The referee gave Snitsky a stern talking to after that fight. So, any thoughts on the match?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm surprised that Kane lost. I thought he was supposed to be like, you know, one of the better wrestlers.
They basically, he had to deal with something, I think. So they actually had to write him off the show for a little bit. And so when you like, for instance, let's say you have to go through a surgery, they'll do something like this to write you off for a little bit. I forget exactly. Okay. I think he was actually filming a movie like called Candyman or something, or like Candy something, or like he was filming a horror flick, so he had to be written off, and so they just had Gene Snitsky just like snap his neck on national television and then beat his injured body as doctors tried to take him away. After beating him and whipping him with a chain, of course.
Yeah, I'm told it's Candyman. I know that film.
Yeah.
This match was awarded 1 3/4 stars by Dave Meltzer in the Wrestling Observer newsletter. Meltzer praised the booking, which established Snitsky as a vicious heel, capable of dominating a monster like Kane, but he criticized...
You imagine like looking at this and you're like, 1 star, not exciting enough, honestly.
the overall lack of heat and called Snitsky's offense generally terrible. This match, which was Gene Snitsky's 3rd televised in the WWE, was over 14 minutes.
Defense of Snitsky, it's kind of hard to whip a cane without actually injuring a person and making it look real.
Yeah, exactly. They're not given much,
It's literally a weapon based on momentum.
Is the chain real then? Is it like an actual metal chain?
It was, yeah, the chain is real, yeah.
Right, okay. So yeah, I mean, of course, you've got to hold back a little bit. You can't just go all out swinging a chain around your head.
Yeah, you basically have to like go, ha, and then like stop at the last second and slightly slide it across his body.
Long. The 2nd longest on the card that night. However, Meltzer noted that the ending, which saw Kane brutalized on the stretcher, did get a big pop.
Oh my God! You gotta be kidding me!
Even if the Billy Kidman-Paul London match at No Mercy just 3
Match was kind of bad, low quality, but at least he beat up injured man.
Used to write Kane off television, as he was scheduled to begin filming See No Evil, which was released about a year and a half later.
Okay.
Oh, well, that's the
With
film.
Kane out of the picture, Snitsky was free to wreak havoc, and he crushed William Regal the next Monday on Raw. Afterwards, he cut a promo claiming that the death of Kane's child
wasn't my fault,
but everything that happened going forward would be. The November 1st, 2004 episode of Raw featured a hardcore match between Eugene and Snitsky, which saw the latter push a
Eugene
stroller
is
to
the
the
mentally
ring
disabled
and use a
person.
no baby sign as a weapon. Later transitioned into a feud
No
with rival
baby
Trish
sign.
Stratus, who referred to her as the kiss of death, callously mocking her failed relationships and her dead infant. Snitsky interrupted their appearance on the highlight reel the next week, playing mind games and carrying what he claimed to be a crying baby. He ended this promo by punting the supposed infant into the sky. Snitsky actually got some pretty impressive hang time with the baby doll. Apparently, Vince McMahon was nervous about the kick and repeatedly stressed to Snitsky how important it was that the baby take flight. What a fascinating place to work. Snitsky's stock continued to rise.
What? What the fuck? He's got his ass in his face.
Yeah, there was like a thing where somebody, like, one of the punishment was that you had to have your face stuck in like somebody's ass or something. I don't remember exactly. But, could you, besides the point on that one, there was, so not only did he punt the baby, right, into the crowd, so somebody out there has a baby, and he's like, you want to know where I got this baby, guy? Yo, a wrestler punted it to me. After he miscarriaged, after he killed somebody's baby, still in the womb.
Yeah, I saw that dude going hard for it. He wanted that baby.
Yeah, oh, give me that, yeah.
It's like in a baseball game trying to catch the ball or something.
Exactly. But not only that, but Vince McMahon specifically, like this guy says, specifically was like, okay, I need to really emphasize. I want you to really punt this baby. I need real airtime on this baby, okay? So there's like a meeting on like baby punting velocity or something. I don't know.
Jesus Christ.
Over the next month, as he was featured on Triple H's team in the main event of the 2004 Survivor Series, and also picked up a clean pinfall victory against Maven on Raw. All the while, he continued to taunt Lita, gloating about the death of her child. But while randomly torturing some divas on the December 13th episode of Raw, Snitsky was confronted by a reinvigorated Lita, as she captured the WWE Women's Championship from Trish Stratus the week before. She'd announced that Kane was returning to Raw to take his revenge.
Kane is going to beat.
The weirdest part of all this was all going on, while that woman on screen right now, was cheating on a separate wrestler with another wrestler.
What? As part of the storyline?
No, just actually.
What?
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
So the storyline was that she was maritally raped, and then a baby happened, which was miscarriage and killed in the ring. with an abusive husband, who then had his neck broken, all while she was cheating on one wrestler with another wrestler in real life.
It's just so confusing. Like, and it's, you know, Demon was saying that the storylines in reality get really blurred, and yeah, I can see that being a thing.
You think?
The holy hell out of you!
Understandably upset by this news, Snitsky attempted to chase after her, but a wall of fire blocked the entrance ramp. He tried again 2 weeks later, stalking her through the crowd and into the backstage area, where Eric Bischoff made the match between Snitsky and Kane at New Year's Revolution official. And Kane returned on the go-home Raw the next week, saving Lita from the same attack that put him out of action for over 2 months. The match at New Year's Revolution began with a long stare-down, with both competitors talking trash. On commentary, JR promised a bowling shoe ugly slobber knocker, noting that neither man came to wrestle.
In my view, they came to fight.
Snitsky attacked first, throwing a knee and some right hands, but Kane no-sold an Irish whip.
By the way, in my opinion, I thought this fight was a lot better.
He allowed Snitsky to rise to his feet, then went to work with some right hands of his own, following them up with a body slam, a leg drop, and then a choke. Even though Kane had openly sworn to murder Snitsky on 2 separate occasions, he released a choke upon the referee's instruction. Snitsky mounted a comeback with some more right hands, but Kane reversed an Irish whip and managed to avoid a boot to the face, regaining control of the match. He'd execute another body slam, then, apparently again forgetting that this was supposed to be a blood feud, went for the cover. Snitsky came back strong with a sidewalk slam, then an Irish whip and a clothesline in the corner. Ready to kick things up a notch, Snitsky stepped to the outside and pulled up the mats, but Kane was close behind. After some brawling, Snitsky attempted a powerbomb, which Kane reversed. And Snitsky took a safe but pretty painful looking bump on the concrete. Back inside, a failed top rope maneuver by Kane put the match back in Snitsky's control, and he applied a sort of modified torture rack using the ring post.
That was nothing if that's painted. Dude, there's people who literally were thrown into barbed wire in wrestling. Like this, dude. Pure little flower child.
Was it Chris Benoit that died?
Yeah, Chris Benoit was the guy who murdered his entire family and then died.
Oh, right, okay. But no, there was someone that had...
Eddie Guerrero?
Yeah.
Eddie Guerrero, like, Viva La Raza. He was like... Well, he didn't have an accident in the ring. That was, God, I forget. He was like the brother or something of, Somebody will tell... Danabub would tell me. He knows. He knows exactly. He's a person who was, like, up by the cables, dropped, fell, died.
Owen Hart?
Owen Hart's brother, I believe, maybe. Or was it Owen Hart? No, Owen Hart was like, I think the one who's not dead.
Okay.
I forget. But Danabub would tell me.
Was for leverage. After a body slam and an elbow drop, he attempted a cover, but Kane kicked out at 1. Frustrated and probably also a little gassed, Snitsky locked in a bear hug. This rest hold actually riled up the crowd, and Kane fought his way out to a sea of cheers. With his opponent barely able to stand, Kane attempted the choke slam, but Snitsky woke up and countered with another body slam. Unfazed, Kane came back to life with a zombie sit-up, prompting Snitsky to kick him in the face, then stand back and watch to see if that was enough to put him away for good. Of course it wasn't, and Kane rose again, so they repeated the spot. And then they repeated the spot. Exasperated, Snitsky dragged Kane to the outside and into the steel steps, then grabbed the chair at ringside in a callback to both their previous matches. But Kane avoided the chair shot, giving Snitsky a boot to the face.
It was Owen Hart. I was thinking about Bret Hart. It was Owen Hart who died.
And executed another sidewalk slam. Another big boot and a flying clothesline would follow, but Snitsky recovered, dropping Kane throat first into the top rope. After one more clothesline, both men fell to the ground, too exhausted to even move. They rose to their feet for some more brawling, then a double chokeslam spot, which Kane of course won. Out of options, Snitsky would knee Kane in the gut, then grab a mouthful of his ear, leading JR to accuse him of cannibalism. Consumed with rage and ready to finish this for good, Kane set up once again and connected with the Tombstone Piledriver, ending this match at 11 minutes, 38 seconds.
Did look like a sloppy
In the
pile
Wrestling
driver to
Observer
me.
newsletter, Dave Meltzer awarded this match a dud rating of 0 stars.
I don't
writing
agree with that.
Gene Snitsky was entertaining for those looking to laugh at a human car wreck, and that counting on Snitsky and Kane to save the show was like asking Kurt Hennig to watch your bads to make sure no one messed with them. Meltzer reported that the match had some of the worst brawling he'd ever seen, and that the finish, where Kane struggled to lift Snitsky for the tombstone, was legitimately scary to watch. It's kind of hard to follow Meltzer's reasoning here. While certainly not a technical masterpiece, both guys were pretty over here, and the crowd was into this match. By definition alone, a match the crowd enjoys cannot be called a dud. I'd say this match was better than their match at Taboo Tuesday, if for no other reason than it was 3 minutes shorter. You might be wondering where Lita was during all this. She actually tore her ACL earlier in the night during a match with Trish Stratus. This injury put her out of action for the next 2 months and made any role she might have played in this match impossible, as she actually required a wheelchair just to get to the airport and fly home. Despite the clean pinfall and Lita being MIA, this feud continued to drag on for another month without any major story developments or purpose. The January 17th, 2005 episode of Raw.
Dude in the blue who he just beat up, that's Simon Dean. His whole shtick is that he's a fitness guru who just tries to sell his shit. That's his whole shtick. So he'll say, this wrestler loves it, and then he'll come out and say, I hate it, and then beat him up. That's the whole shtick.
Oh, right, so it's like a grifter.
Basically, yeah, he's a grifter. And he mocks the audience member, saying, you fat fuck, you will never be fit unless you get on the Simon D program. Like, that's basically his whole shtick.
That's so
Honestly,
funny.
I found it really entertaining.
Yeah.
I find he was not too bad, to be honest.
Featured another no DQ match, which ended in a no contest when both Snitsky and Kane fell from the entrance ramp. 2 weeks later, they fought in a steel cage, and Kane picked up another victory by choke slamming Snitsky on the cage door. Snitsky's star began to fall after this feud, and he was removed from television for 2 months in the spring of 2005 due to a blood clot in his stomach. He returned as a flunky for Edge, who exploited Snitsky's foot fetish to secure his help in his own feud with Kane. There'll be a lot more on this in the next video. He began mostly appearing on Sunday Night Heat, and generally losing whenever he appeared on Raw. Aside from a respectable 12-minute run in the 2008 Royal Rumble, Snitsky competed at only 2 other pay-per-views following this. Let's take a look at AJ Styles.
Oh shit, I accidentally skipped. But I love how the foot fetish was just like we didn't even stop the video or anything. We're just like compared to everything else, it was literally next to nothing.
Yeah, no, definitely. It was, of all of this, that's the least of our concerns here, right?
Yeah, the foot fetish, yeah. 1 second. Yeah, let me get back
Counting
to
on
it.
Snitsky and Kane to save the show was while certainly the crowd enjoyed in this match impossible, as she actually required a major story developments, no contest when both Snitsky's star began to fall for Edge, who exploited Snitsky's foot fetish to secure his help in his own feud with Kane. There'll be a lot more on this in the next video. He began mostly appearing on Sunday Night Heat, and generally losing whenever he appeared on Raw. Aside from a respectable 12-minute run in the 2008 Royal Rumble, Snitsky competed at only 2 other pay-per-views following this feud with Kane. After a year of spinning his wheels and finding little success in the tag division with partners Tyson Tomko and Goldust, Snitsky was repackaged as a grotesque, hairless madman and transferred to ECW, which was sort of comparable to NXT today, a brand where less experienced wrestlers could be seasoned and establish themselves. Snitsky's gimmick overhaul included yellow stained teeth, which he painstakingly accomplished by drying out his mouth before the show and applying a special paste. He enjoyed a renewed push in ECW, picking up victories against the likes of Tommy Dreamer, Hardcore Holly, and the Sandman. And when transferred to Raw in June of 2007, he continued to regularly win squash matches, but generally lost when paired against established stars. Dissatisfied with his new gimmick and his position on the roster, Snitsky acted on the advice of Chris Jericho and had a private conversation with Vince McMahon in late 2008 concerning his issues with his character and his future with the company. Snitsky walked away from the meeting feeling that it went well, but 3 days later John Laurinaitis called, informing him of his release. With his WWE run over, Snitsky returned to the independent scene and also tried his hand at acting. Here he is bullying a midget on primetime. What would you do?
Can you take a picture of me and him? Just to show the height difference? Nah, I don't think he's into that, man. Come on, man. Thanks, little buddy.
In 2013, he served as part of a 5-man security detail for New York Yankee Alex Rodriguez. And he also had a short run with TNA that next summer. Last year, in 2018, Snitsky announced that he intended to retire from wrestling due to a growing dissatisfaction with the industry itself. At 50 years old, the guy still looks great. He's probably in better shape now than he was during his WWE run. I started this video with a discussion on wrestler debuts. Although unconventional in every way, Snitsky's debut directly resulted in him being plucked from developmental and given a major push in a high-profile feud against one of the company's biggest stars. So I don't think you can rightly call that a bad debut. Any wrestler would be lucky to get that type of opportunity. But Snitsky never seemed to escape this feud. Even now, gone from the WWE for over a decade, it's an everyday aspect of his life. While parts of this story felt genuine and real, others played out almost like a parody of pro wrestling. Instead of portraying Snitsky as a bloodthirsty heel who attacked Lita in order to settle some sort of personal issue with Kane, Snitsky was booked more as an antisocial guy who simply had an irrational hatred of babies. That's a pretty tough image to shake when it's literally the only thing a crowd knows about a wrestler.
I like what you do to babies.
Ironically, Glenn Jacobs faced a similar struggle when he entered the WWE in 1995 as Isaac Yankem DDS, a henchman recruited by Jerry Lawler to take revenge on Bret Hart for defeating him in a Kiss My Foot match. He was given a huge push and immediately placed into a program with the company's second biggest babyface. But once it was over, what use did anyone have for a wrestling dentist? No matter how catchy his theme music was. At the time, and now, many people have called this storyline tasteless. I think that's a fair point. Miscarriages are pretty common. It can be devastating. I have to imagine there were a lot of people that were pretty uncomfortable watching some of these segments. But at the same time, controversial storylines were synonymous with the WWE in the late 90s and through most of the 2000s. Vince McMahon once interviewed Brian Pillman's grieving wife one day after his death and asked her how she planned to support her children as a single mother.
Have you had any opportunity to think about what you now as a single parent will do to support your 5 children?
So if you were still watching, you kind of knew what to expect. At home recovering from surgery, Amy Dumas's relationship with boyfriend Matt Hardy began to deteriorate. She returned to WWE television in March of 2005, still acting as Kane's on-screen wife. But 2 months later, she betrayed him, turning heel for the first time in her career and aligning herself with Edge, with whom she'd been having a real-life affair behind Hardy's back. The fallout from this secret romance ruined friendships, nearly ended careers, and played out on screen for the whole world to see. And that's where we'll pick up next time. Thank you for watching.
Wow.
So, got any thoughts, any deeper opinions about what I just showed you?
I mean, I think like at the right age, I could see myself if I was younger, like enjoying that in some respect, like just how ridiculous it is, maybe. But obviously now, with what I believe, it's just completely inappropriate, right?
Oh, is it? I didn't think. Oh, really? I mean, yeah. I mean, I could see it like being entertaining due to the fact that like, that's fucking crazy. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
it's so utterly like completely tasteless.
You know, absolutely, it's completely ridiculous. And like I say, I think Anarcha Boy put it good, well earlier when he said that like basically it's just shows you how fucked up it is to have like the profit motive, right? Like just the desire to earn more and more money will just push you in more and more ridiculous directions, you know?
I mean, true, but it made good content, didn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, we get now years later. I mean, how long ago was that?
Probably early 2000s. Yeah, early 2000s, most likely.
Yeah, now we get like 20 years later to watch it. Do you know what I mean? And and meme on it.
Yeah. So, okay, you're in the room, right? You're in the room with Vince McMahon. He's pitching this idea. Would you have told him to go through with it? Yes or no?
I think back when I was like was more supportive of like capitalism and stuff, like yeah, probably, because it's like it's a no-brainer. Like, but mind you, though, weren't they saying at one point that like they lost loads of viewers on one of the matches?
Yeah. Apparently, the feud itself, I guess, was entertaining for people, but the matches didn't really add a lot of views. No.
Yeah. It's kind of more entertaining to kind of look back look back on it, I guess.
Yeah, it is kind of weird to be able to say like, wait, didn't we have like a baby killer character, and that was literally his whole shtick is that he didn't like babies, and he killed one on TV.
Well, I don't know if he didn't like babies necessarily. It was just an accident, but I guess it kind of in the story it messed with his head what happened. So he ended up doing all this weird shit, like bringing a stroller onto
Hey,
the
the
stage.
stroller was integral like WWE lore, honestly.
But yeah, I'm just so amazed that I've never heard of this before. You know, I mean, don't get me wrong, I was never really into wrestling, but yeah, Jesus.
Yeah, that's kind of wild.
But yeah, I feel like this. We've been talking about it before. We should maybe make this a thing we do each week, and we can make it a sort of
Maybe not each
podcast
week,
type.
but every once in a while we can like look
Yeah,
at
yeah.
some weird, crazy wrestling shit. I guess next I'd probably show you Eugene.
Yeah, no, that's good. Because suppose once a week it might, there's not enough content to last us, I guess. So yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
We'll come up with a name for it and do it as like a thing.
Yeah, makes sense. Anyway, man, I really enjoyed this. I'm
Yeah, me
happy
too.
that I kind of felt that you were like, where's this gonna go, Dylan? What the fuck you about to show me?
Yeah, no. I mean, obviously, I trust you, okay, as a fellow content creator,
Mm-hmm.
to know what's up, right? So I was kind of like, when you said it was like wrestling and abortion in DMs, I was like, what? Like,
Yeah. It's kind of a weird combination when you think about it.
yeah, definitely. It is a very strange combination.
Yeah.
But we figured it out. I'm quite happy with how it went, and yeah, we'll definitely do it again.
Awesome. So, see you later, man.
Yeah, no worries. Catch you later, Dylan.
See you later. What an arc! What an amazing story arc, guys. When they had just a child custody ladder match was better. Did they have a child custody ladder match? Was that a thing? Did they actually have that? What an amazing... See, that's good content, guys. Child custody ladder matches? I think that's how all child custody cases should be solved. Just by ladder matches. Why not? Why not have a ladder match to decide who gets whose kid? You know what I mean?